I can do that.
Mike, does it show you in here?
We're on.
Oh.
Smokin Poetry Podcast is back. I'm Mike Harris, and look at all the amazing people who are here with me.
Ooh.
We have Jasper Rose Noah Vale and Sarah Garlick, and I have to give we have to do a little extra special stuff with Sarah because.
What's up, everybody?
Hi.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I screamed into the mic. So I am your new co-host, Sarah Garlick, and I'm very happy to be here with you guys. We are extremely happy to have our friends here today. Noah Vale, what's going on?
Not much. Slept in a lot today and waited for you to pick me up.
And Jasper.
What's up, everybody? My name is Jasper Rose. It's a beautiful thing to be here. It's a beautiful opportunity to be able to be a voice in the community, to be able to be with friends, and just hang out and talk about the process and what it is that we do and why we do it. So let's do this thing.
Well, what is it that you do for the people who maybe don't know who you are? What is it?
I am a musician, and I'm also a poet. And my job throughout my life is I work with children. So that's what I do during the day, and I play music and write my poetry during the night. So I consider myself
Just the night?
certainly an artist. No, not just the night. I mildly have breaks in between
Heard that.
of being busy. So not just the night, but yes, certainly give myself time to work in my art.
Oh, it's right here.
Well, we'll certainly circle back to that a little bit, but so we don't keep you hanging too long.
Hang in.
Who is Noah Vale, and what is your art?
What is your art?
Who is Noah Vale? Noah Vale is I, and I am also a musician. I write my music not just at night, but all hours of the day and evening. That's pretty much all there is during my day. Like Jasper said, with their job, I run dogs. And advertise for that company as well. That's what I do. Woo woo. We love capitalism.
Woo woo, indeed. Hey, we all have to have our things that get us by during the day. That's the hard part, is being an artist. It's hard and beautiful at the same time, I would say, because being an artist, it takes the amount of dedication that it's not instant gratification.
Yeah.
It's not, I'm going to get into this and make money automatically. You have to get really fucking good. You have to make your own shit. It's a competitive world out there.
Yeah.
It's very competitive.
Yep.
I think when you, for me, I definitely find the joy in it when it comes to just like being able to have that process of release.
Yes.
Absolutely. It's so
Really love to make it
frustrating
in the first place.
to have to, do what we do, as Noah said, and have like a job during the day, and it's like, wow, bills, why do those exist?
Right.
Yeah, that's very true.
And I'm always so grateful for those opportunities where I can dive into my music and start to begin to write, or even just play covers, because certainly that's a good way of release for sure. So.
Absolutely.
Well, music is kind of a pretty broad term, so why don't we narrow it down a little bit more for what
Music.
you guys more specifically like to perform. You do a few different things.
Sure.
Why don't you tell people what type of music do you like to perform?
Yeah, Jasper, when you play.
Yeah.
Well, when I was 13 years old, that's when I really dove into my music. I have a grandpa who, he cannot walk, but he plays. At first he couldn't walk, he then developed, at first he could, but he got older, and so it's really hard for him. And so I think for me it became a sentimental action to be able to play and to be able to be in my music, because it was the way that I bonded with my grandpa. He raised me, so with my mother, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it was a really beautiful way to kind of dive into that. So when I was 11 or 12, yeah, exactly, and connect, which is really what we search for, right?
Absolutely.
We search
That's
for
what
that.
art is.
Yeah, yes, exactly. It's that way of finding those communities. I started playing the drums at a super young age. I started playing when I was 12, and then I went to the piano, and then I went to the guitar.
Cool.
So guitar is primarily my instrument right now, but
which is not common. People don't go from drums to piano to
Yeah,
guitar.
right.
That's not usually the order of
typically
instruments.
people would prefer to stay at drums.
Yeah.
You know.
Is there an order of instruments?
I mean, usually people start with something like piano, guitar, or violin, something like that, like the basic ones, and then they go to something harder like the drums, or they go to something different like the piano or something like that.
Yeah, but I feel like once you master the drums, then
Yeah.
you could probably do anything, right?
Well, I think for me it was really interesting, that process, because I actually I used to play for a church that I attended, and
Same.
coming out as queer, that really changed, you know, that changed my perspective on my music, certainly, and it actually created a wall for me that I had a really hard time with tearing down. But as when I moved to Colorado Springs, actually, that's when I dove into my music more entirely, as others would say, in a secular manner.
I'm sorry, please elaborate.
Well, secular meaning
you know, the
worldly, secular meaning full of sin.
That's what the Christians or the religious people say.
Right.
You're
I'm
of the
sorry,
world.
my ADHD, I got a little lost for a second.
No, you're fine.
Like secular music, that was a big
Right.
no-no.
I think it was like fighting that idea that I am have my talent because of God, as opposed to because of myself. And I, you know, that was interesting to process. But anyway, yeah, I play the guitar and the drums and the piano. And really, I'm 27, so I've been doing it for quite a while. And it's certainly a blessing to be able to do it. So.
But there's this other little thing. I don't know what it's called. Sometimes you bring.
The cajon.
What is what is that?
Cajon.
A cajon
So
is
cool.
Spanish for box.
Okay.
And or dresser. It really depends. So it's basically just a box that has a somewhat of a plastic front that is screwed into the sides, and then each portion of the cajon has different sounds, and then it has like chains inside of it, but basically the same way that it looks underneath a snare, and then it sounds like a set if you really get used to it and feel out the sounds. It sounds like a set.
And I bet you're pretty good at that. I actually didn't know until like last week that you told me that you played the drums.
Yeah.
No, I didn't even know until today. That's a new thing for me. I've only seen you play the guitar and sing.
Yeah, I actually I did a drum solo at the pub when Jenny Ray was
my man.
Yeah.
How did I not know
I have
about
no
this?
idea. And I
you
also
need to post about this shit more.
I know I'm bad at posting.
I love
That's the
Chris
hard
on this
part. That is
I'm
the
so
really
bad
hard
at
part
posting,
is getting consistent with posting because people
people
want to know who you are and where you're at and what's going on. But then it is very like mentally taxing to have to think about it. But after a certain point, I'm just like, I have this picture.
Yeah.
Hey, this is where I'm at.
This is what I'm doing.
Super quick.
But it's a really dope way that I've networked, honestly, within the community, and it's really been a huge anchor and pillar for me.
Because people want to show up.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just, I'm so appreciative of people being on that same mindset and the same thought process as far as music. So
Absolutely.
So what about you, Noah?
Was
What
there
about
a
your
direct
music?
question? My music journey?
There
My
was
music-
not
Your
a
music
direct
journey.
question. These are all very indirect questions.
Okay, I started off in music when I was about 3.5 to 4 years old with piano. My two older sisters, I'm the baby of the family, they played piano, and me being the baby, I was like, oh, I want to be like my big sisters. I want to play the piano. And so I played the piano from the ages of like 4 to 16. Everywhere beyond those stages, I wanted to quit. And my parents, being baby boomer parents that they were like, you cannot quit. You wanted to do this.
Feel that.
So you may not quit. You have to do this. And then somewhere along the way, I want to say from like when I turned about 15 years old, I started composing my own music on the piano, so like waltzes and rags and
Waltzes and what?
Rags.
What does that mean?
A rag. Have you ever? Do you know The Sting? The movie The Sting.
Mm-mm.
No.
The Sting.
I've not seen a lot of movies. Please don't be mad at me.
Oh my gosh. Okay, it's a classic.
Well, tell
and
our
there's this,
viewers
and
what-
the man who composes the music in there, he's a pianist, and the name was Scott Joplin, and it's just like a
Ragtime. I've
yeah,
heard of that.
ragtime.
Ragtime. Now I got it.
Yeah, that's what a
Okay,
rag originates from. So
Yeah.
I started doing a lot of that. And so when I was 13 years old, I picked up a guitar. My dad didn't want me playing the guitar because he had a very special relationship with my oldest sister, so he got her a guitar. And she's not very musical, and she didn't really like it. And so I would sneak the guitar out of her room and play it sometimes, like in the dead of night, and start to teach myself how to play the guitar. And then Yeah, and so somewhere along the way, my dad noticed. He finally came to the realization that this is what I wanted, and that my older sister didn't really want to do this. And so he gave me the guitar that he had given her, and she was fine with it. And then when I was 16 years old, they gave me a banjo for my 15th birthday. Actually, they gave me a banjo, and so I
That's a
picked
fun
that
instrument.
up. Absolutely. And then I graduated when I was 18, and they got me a cello. And so I've been teaching myself the cello. So somewhere along the lines, I taught myself bass, taught myself ukulele, all the like basic stuff. And the one that I'm really focusing on right now is cello. So my musical journey is all over the place. Started writing singer-songwriter music when I was 14 years old. Yeah. So that's my journey.
Wow.
I know,
That's
right?
astounding. That's awesome.
It's a lot.
I'm really glad that within the end of your dad's journey, he was able to see that change.
Yeah,
He was
absolutely.
able to change in that
Because you
aspect.
could
That's
tell,
what really matters.
because they wanted me to play piano. They forced me to do that. I didn't like it, and then he finally gave me the guitar, and then they realized that. So that's when I started getting other instruments, a banjo, a cello,
gosh.
things like that.
All
They've
the
always
stringed
been
instruments.
absolutely.
so
They've
happy.
been very
That's-
supportive in my music journey. So I
Yay.
appreciate
That's
that.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, I know we don't have like all these different instruments here today, but we do have something, right?
Yep. We
Is this the
certainly do.
Is this the segue to start our first song?
I'd
maybe?
imagine it is.
Okay.
I think
My-
this is the segue.
Okay.
I don't know who's gonna. Maybe we should do one from each of you or something. We have one guitar, right?
Not it.
We do have
We
one
have
guitar.
one guitar.
Well, you can do whatever you guys want, but what do you think? Maybe well,
I'm
Jasper song and
fine.
Noah
I'm fine with
song,
starting it off. So, as someone who is an artist, I do really dive into more so my covers than I do my originals.
Yeah, you really do.
I find
Play
it to
them
be.
so well.
Thank you.
You do.
Thank you. I'm going to be super honest with you, and I'm going to be a little bit vulnerable right now. I found myself my inner dialogue was very mean about doing covers. Because as much as I love writing my music, and I actually find my music to be so beautiful, it's also just, it's a picture of my soul. It's a picture of my heart. And that's just so vulnerable to expose.
Absolutely.
So anyway, I had this inner dialogue of really beating myself up for being a cover artist, especially because when I moved out to Colorado Springs, there were so many artists
so
that
much
I can
original
think of.
music
On the
flooding
top
ears.
of my head, several people, Jay Also Boogie, Jake Massey, one of the greats out there. I love the dude, and AJ.
Yeah.
They're all just so good at what they do, and I found it to be intimidating. And what's that?
Timon Press.
Yeah, Timon, sure, yeah. And when I started to
Sorry.
when I started to hear that, I really, in fact, became inspired, I think, to write my own music and and to kind of put myself out there. And of course, I have music that I've written, but nothing I'm ready to share yet.
Okay.
So I
Take your
will
time.
I will certainly I will play a cover for you. But
We'd love to hear anything you have to present for us.
and
Homie,
and
give
do
us your
some-
best. The best of the best.
the best of the best.
I'm a creep.
All around.
You can do that
I
one.
love how we went two different ways with that.
You sang that before, public. Is that one of the ones you
Did we want, because the camera's right here, did we want to like
Do you wanna-
shift a little bit maybe so that
Um,
Jasper's right in the middle?
Yeah, do you?
I don't mind just being like this.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Whatever you want.
I'm going to back off just a little bit so there's a nice clear
Yeah.
view and maybe half
I
of my
feel
face,
so-
but I don't mind.
Well, you can
you
also
know,
go back. a
I
little bit
actually
that way.
think I'm gonna do a song that I wrote over the summer.
Okay.
I might as well. I think to myself, you can either be a toe dipper or you can be a cannonballer, but either way,
Facts.
get in the water.
Literally.
And so
That's beautiful.
I agree. I think you have to immerse yourself to really just be able to be entirely in agreement of who you are. So this is me immersing myself in hopes that whoever is watching and listening will emerge themselves also.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
She was good for me. Now I was good for her. a night sky above us as we exist below. Imagining the vastness of it all. She came along like a summer breeze. And here I am wondering if I'm falling in love. Thank you.
I got you.
Do you really look that beautiful as the stars up above? She came along like the summer breeze. She came along with such gentle ease. Eyes through fire, it's where I belong.
Wow.
Oh my goodness!
Very nice.
Yeah, I'm like, I
What
want to be
a
a whole
voice.
audience
Much
right now.
improved. I like the way, this is gonna sound so weird, but I love the way you finger pick because I don't finger pick like that.
Me neither. I'm
Thank
not that
you.
skilled.
I'm actually, I
I brace myself with the pinky. You know what I'm saying? You do haphazard, bro. You're like, you don't even have to
where
look.
they are. That's
Yeah,
what it
that's
is.
what
That's
I'm
crazy.
saying.
That's total.
They don't even have to look at
I
it.
certainly do take, I kudos to my grandpa for that. He taught me how to Travis pick. And
Okay, I heard that.
Travis picking is a really, interesting approach and really hard, but I practice really hard. But
Yeah.
yeah, that song is called Eyes Through Fire. I fell in love with someone, and the moment I realized that I did was I saw them through a bonfire, and I looked at them through the ashes and the rest of the fire, and I just like saw her, and the fire was in front of her, and I just knew, and so that's where that came from. A lot of love. So
That was immensely deep.
Lovely.
By the way, when you're talking about the picking, because I don't understand all these things, and some people may not. Why don't we explain a little bit? What does these terms mean? Like you're talking about.
I mean, sure, different songs to have different approaches.
X.
When you're playing like an R&B song, you maybe got like. Right?
Yeah.
So that's like a very R&B like slow, and then you got
Creates the pattern, I guess.
Yeah,
Of
exactly.
the notes
Right.
within. Because when you just strum, it's one note, and you can definitely strum multiple times in order to create that pattern.
right.
But you're doing it with singular notes versus a whole
exactly.
chord.
And I mean, your fingering, you're actually on your left hand, your finger placements is like a chord, right?
Mhm.
But your right hand is just playing different songs, and
Sometimes it doesn't have to be that way too.
yeah,
It's-
exactly.
That's the beautiful part about
Sarah
the
Garlick is
instrument.
also a musician, you guys.
Yes.
Oh,
That's
hi.
actually
Hello.
Yes.
We're gonna have a whole special thing for you.
Well, that's actually what I was thinking about earlier. Is I was like, we need to do a couple episodes with some artists and really get to know them,
Right.
and then I would definitely like to do an
Yeah.
episode just getting to know me as well and hanging out with my friend Mike.
Bye.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
My man Mike.
different
Yeah.
finger picking styles definitely do relate to the different kind of music that is out there, R&B, country, and then it's also about the energy and the feel that you want to give it, the emotion. What I did was very folksy, which no one would really imagine. I think people look at me and they're probably like, rock, indie. And it's like,
yeah.
I actually love country music and folk music. So
Yeah.
Well, and the cool part about you as well is you don't necessarily, you do pin yourself down to a certain kind of style, but I love your variation because
Thank
you can't
you.
really tell. To
Yeah.
me, I didn't really have any judgments. Well, I'm also not necessarily like a preconceived notion kind of person,
Sure, yeah.
depending on who it is and what information I'm given. But I'm just like, based off of when I look at you, I'm just like, I don't know. I just can't wait to see what
Something
you play.
will come.
I just can't wait to see what you play.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, that's good. Thank you. I appreciate that.
yeah, absolutely. It's just always for Jasper.
Noah has something she wants to sing.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just playing.
I think you're ready to go.
I think,
I think she's
Is there
good.
any? No, for sure. I will, for sure. But is there anything that you wanted to hear, Mike? Like, I know you you have like done your poetry to one of my songs. I can't remember which one it was.
I did do that.
I think.
I
Okay.
love all your stuff.
Okay, I'm sorry. Really quick directional notes. I think we should start with Noah Vale, maybe get a little bit into it. We're going back.
What is your
We have an hour and
favorite
40
of the
minutes.
stuff
My
you've written?
favorite song that I've written?
Yeah.
Ugh. Ooh. It might be Velvet Rose. Have you guys heard that? You guys have heard that one?
I know the songs by hearing them.
I think
I
That's
know,
one
I
of my
knew I
favorites.
heard that.
That's the one with the
original of
loose
yours,
ends.
Jasper. I knew. I heard you play that.
Have
Oh
you?
yeah, I played that over
Fucking
the.
goodness, you played
I
it.
played that over the summer. Yeah. At the pub. Yeah.
This is a song I wrote when I was 15 years old about somebody that we all know. Anyways,
That is gonna be fast.
right?
I wasn't sure I knew the person involved.
You've seen them.
I
Go around. The daylight hits you harshly, daylight hits you harshly. 'Cause I know you pretend that you are madly, you pretend that you are madly in love. And oh, I know how this goes. You turn up your nose at me, my disease. And yes, I know how this ends. We remain just friends with two loose ends, with two loose ends. And oh, I know how this goes. You take off your clothes, put on a show, and yes, I know how this ends. We remain just friends with two loose ends, with two loose ends. Pretend that we are madly in love. Cause the daylight hits you harshly, my love. And oh, I know how this goes. You take off your clothes, velvet rose, and yes, I know how these things. We remain just friends with two loose ends. Thank you. That was that song. Oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
Wow! Hey, thanks. Y'all better cut it
It's
out.
okay, I do it every single time. I can't
You crashing
trust it with
guitars?
a guitar.
Oh, really?
I can't trust it. It's bad.
So yeah, I wrote that, believe it or not, when I was a middle teenager.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was 15, I think. Yeah.
And you write a lot. How would we've talked a little bit about this,
How many
but
songs
for
have
the
you written?
people,
I have about 35 plus songs.
Whoa,
now.
whoa! wasn't anticipating that number.
Yeah, there's a lot of songs that I don't sing. I actually recently came into contact with a song that I hadn't played in a long time, and I was like, whoa, that's crazy. So I've been writing music since I was singing and songwriting music since I was 14, so that's almost 7 years of work just in that. So
I have 4 songs.
Oh,
How long have you been writing the same boat as you, Jasper? Like where I would kid myself for doing covers or doing things that I felt that I shouldn't be doing because everybody was kind of saying like you have to do these things.
Yeah, I think
in order to be a good artist.
we have to have grace with ourselves.
Absolutely.
You know, I think it's such an interesting perspective, but I think for certain, like for me, it requires a lot of vulnerability. And it also requires that ability to have that space, you know, and I just, you know, I maybe have like, I don't know, since I started writing songs, if I was going for the unfinished number, I would say like 13.
Okay,
if I was going for like the finished, I would say like 5.
Yeah.
For sure,
yeah.
you know.
Hey, 5 songs is 5 songs.
Yeah, I'm saying
that's more than somebody that don't have 5 songs.
But you know what's so
35,
beautiful
like,
about that?
like,
It's that ability
Yeah,
to
like
be
that.
in the arena.
Absolutely.
You know?
Oh,
Like
I
there's
get what you
this
mean.
there's this quote, and I can't really entirely remember who it is, and of course I'm not prepared.
yeah,
But,
do your best.
You know,
Some quote.
it's said by somebody, I can't even say who,
It's said
and
by
I'm
a
not
person.
gonna lie and say who it is. But
all that matters is that it's a person of color.
Yeah, a
Is it
good-
a person of color.
I
Oh
think,
my
I think-
God.
I don't think it is a person of color, but
Well,
it
it
is.
is a
I
human
think
being
it's.
and they have
I think
thoughts.
it's certainly somebody who advocated for all.
That's
you know,
awesome. That's
and
awesome.
and I think the in all the terms, the point was that you are the man in the arena. You are the
Oh,
person in
so
the
sensitive.
arena. You
I'm
know,
so sorry.
it's about you know, it's about being that person who is able to be the one inside as opposed to
Commanding the stage.
being the one
Absolutely.
who is the spectator.
Ah.
You know,
Yes.
like having the ability to just even say, I wrote a song. I have the ability to write a song. You know, I have that ability to have my fingers to write that song. You know, things like that. There are so many things to be grateful for when it comes to, as an artist, even just having your voice. You know, in 2020, I got COVID and I wasn't able to sing for 3-4 months,
Oh
and
my
I have really bad
gosh.
asthma too, so it hit me hard. And it was really sad. And having that kind of
I was wondering, whatever.
being deprived of that, it certainly does put you in a spot of, well, what now?
Yeah.
You know, and then when you get it back, it's like, wow, I actually really appreciate it.
Yes.
You
So
know?
it feels kind of like you took it for granted
Yeah,
almost.
yeah.
Like, oh my
100%.
Yeah.
Yes. But well done, Noah.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah.
When did you start like performing on stages in front of people? Is my question. Sorry, I'm not like the podcast interviewer, but like I'm curious.
You got good questions though.
Thank
So.
It's just it's about having that flow conversation. So
Right?
I appreciate it.
I got
Noah.
you, homie.
Yeah. I don't. I mean, if you would consider me being on stage on the altar at church, a stage.
Oh, okay, I see you.
I would say 13.
Yeah.
But I personally don't feel like that was where I started my journey, because there was a lot of like conditioning that was happening.
Yeah, indoctrination. if you will.
Indoctrination.
Absolutely.
Yes, that I just kind of wanted to step away from. So it tainted my
More just like unreasonable
experience.
standards that you
Right.
have to uphold
Absolutely.
in order to be a good
Yeah.
person when in reality
They kicked me off my worship team because I played acoustic guitar for my worship team at my church, and they kicked me off because I was not good at participating in the prayers. Yeah.
Yeah, my unfortunately, and I, you know, once again, this is very vulnerable, and I don't know who's going to listen to this, and this is live, but I actually have an uncle who is the leader of a church back where I'm from, the San Luis Valley, and he is my grandmother's brother, and he found out that I was participating in making out with women.
Oh, that's the
and-
Lord's most hated sin. He hates that sin the most.
and you know, he called me in front of the congregation and he said, you know, and
Oh my
he said
gosh.
my bio name, which I will not say.
Oh, good
I'm not putting
Lord.
that out
Yeah,
there.
absolutely.
But he called me by my bio name and he said, you know, is in sin, and X is in sin, and you no longer are able to play here. And that's when I think I was 14. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So of course that put a really bad taste in my mouth for music and for just playing in front of people in general, which I'm so glad I started to.
Which
when
you find, like, and I feel that because hello, if you're watching this, Father, my dad was a really shitty person, not the one that is in my life now, but
Sure.
yeah, and so the entire he was very musical. He was very within the church. He was I think he still is. I don't really know. But hello, I'm sorry, friends. We're getting very vulnerable in this room, and it's beautiful. It's really an amazing thing that we can all be so comfortable with each other and with ourselves in order to be able to speak about these things. But he was heavily involved. That was what he loved to do. He played the guitar, he sang. He was what inspired me when I was a young girl to want to be within music. And, at that point it was the worship team and stuff like that. But later, as I started to grow into my own person and to be able to decipher somebody who was abusing me versus somebody who loves me, I was able to, it did put a very bad taste in my mouth for a while for music. But I was able to find my own love for it and something that drew me to it and my own connection, not just a connection through him because he was what started me into it, but the reason why I love it so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think in a way that the chrysalis, if you will, is that I don't want to say like knowing who you are entirely, because do we ever reach that, right?
No.
But certainly feeling stronger and like, wow, like this is what I went through. I certainly do have a very similar experience with my dad, and how my relationship with him I started performing music live, I would say, in 2021. March of 21, so it was super recent.
That is very recent. Holy shit.
I met North, and it was a beautiful, honestly, experience. And I started at Jives, and I'm still a regular there. I'm not able to go anymore and sign up because I work till past that sign up time. But yeah, I started doing music in 21. In fact, when I was 19, so this was in 2015. If the math is wrong. Sorry.
Shut up.
We're not here for math.
Yeah.
I'm
here for poetry. We can't do six.
But anyway, when I was, I dated someone who was a music teacher actually, and I sang, and she told me that I couldn't.
Fuck that bitch. Sorry, not to swear for the first time on the podcast.
Actually, no, I've been swearing the entirety of this time.
Yeah, I don't know how
she
allowed to watch this now.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's all good.
Are we not allowed to swear?
I think we can.
It's too late
it's your
now.
We've been doing it.
It's too late now.
It's too late. It's already
This one's
done.
already monetized.
It's already done.
Or demonetized, that's what it is.
Well, we could quick out.
It definitely did put a sour, it made me think, her telling me, because I thought she was an expert, and she was also a singer, and she was going to become a choir vocalist, and I was young, I was 19, and I believed her.
Impressionable.
It was
that was
so impressionable.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm 27 now, and I'll tell you what, I love me. I love who I am, and I found so much of myself in a lot of pain, of course, and if we want to get into that, sure. But I finally found myself, and truly, I think that's why I do have such a powerful presence on stage. It's not my voice, it's my love.
Oh,
what I
that's
do.
Sweet.
Yeah,
Oh,
truly,
yes, it's your passion.
Yeah.
But your voice is powered by your love.
Yes, exactly.
Because you do have a powerful voice.
Thank you.
You certainly have a powerful voice.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
What about you, Noah?
Do I have a powerful?
No. You have a powerful voice. But in a roundabout way, let's get back to that question. What brought you into performing live? What was your journey like with that?
So like I said, I started playing piano at 4. So from the ages of 4 until I was 16, I was performing at piano concerts and things like that, just for music halls and for the parents and stuff, and nursing homes, recitals, stuff like that. And then I came to Jives when I was either 15 or 16 years old. I want to say I was 15 years old for the first time. and I went on stage. It was actually, I was 15 years old because it wasn't the location that's in Old Colorado City. It's the old location.
Drives 2! Drives 2!
Drives
My favorite place in the world!
The steampunk one, dude.
It was so good.
It was so good, and I performed there, and I was like, oh my gosh! And I performed all covers because I had not, I wasn't confident in my my originals at that point in time. And
I saw you once.
right? Do you remember Elena?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were there.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I was friends with Elena.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I am
more
friends
on
with Elena.
same. More on that later. But
I don't know Elena, but hello, Elena.
they're
Hello.
super cool. They're super
An
cool.
amazing individual.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where I started. And then I went over. That Jives location closed soon after I went there for the first and last time. It was really cool. And then I went over to the Jives location in Old Colorado City when I was 16 years old, and I've been going there ever since. My birthday's in 2 weeks, so for almost 5 years now.
Wow. Yes.
Coming on this birthday, so
And
yeah.
that is when you
youngin'
started
on our
performing.
I
artists,
know.
Right?
I'm literally about to drink my ass
You
off.
didn't do
21.
anything before that, right?
What?
You didn't do any other performing other than when you were 16? Before then?
Aside
I
from
did,
That's
the
when you
recitals.
started?
yeah, and I did do the whole, like Jasper was saying, I did do the whole
Oh, some
worship
church
team.
stuff? Gotcha. I didn't know you did that.
Goodness gracious sakes alive, that ruined me. Well, like,
Yeah.
but like not in a bad way. Like, it didn't discourage me. It actually fueled me more when they like rejected me, when they told me that I wasn't a good enough Christian, when they told me I wasn't
Wow.
praying hard enough. It actually fueled me to like be better because I was already better than most of the people that were on the worship team at such a young age as a 14-year-old and a 15-year-old. And so I was like, well, if you don't want me, okay, that's fine. I will just write my own music, and my music is so like we were talking about vulnerability. My music is a direct like window into like my heart, my soul, my thoughts. And yeah, it can be very hard, but like I just pretend like I'm just, I pretend that people love what I do.
Well, I don't think you have
Well,
to pretend.
you have to. Obviously, you don't have to.
I know
Because-
everyone who's heard you loves what you do. I
Oh,
can
well,
pretty
well,
much
thank
guarantee
you.
that.
I appreciate that.
Maybe more people will hear you after tonight.
Maybe.
It starts with the confidence within yourself.
Absolutely.
You have to be able to sell yourself, not sell yourself out or do anything bad. Okay, I'm not, whatever.
Sell
Do it
out.
at your own discretion. But
Let's blow these mics.
I truly think
okay,
that
I'm sorry. Please don't. There's gonna be a meme about that somewhere. I fucking hate life.
I think the fundamental basis of that inner dialogue of not being able to feel confident in your music really does stem from the idea of feeling like you're an imposter. And I certainly have had that idea in my head. I had a very musically inclined cousin who was always so competitive with me, and he happened to be the son of the pastor who did the deed of kicking, asking me to leave.
Goodness gracious.
And I've forgiven that. I've forgiven that. But getting back to that,
You should be embraced for individuality versus trying to be better than somebody else.
Right,
It's
yeah.
about the art, not about being
Right.
better than somebody
yeah,
else.
100%. And I think for me, it's about the process.
Mm.
You know how so many people out there are emotionally stunted
Yeah.
and constipated. They literally cannot let it flow. And that's
sure.
sad and that's hard. And I can only imagine that inability to be able to process that
Thank you so much.
inability. Shout out to you. Thank you.
Yeah,
so much.
I guess we got to give you guys
can
the
we
shout out.
go?
What is your name?
Middle of the show,
Yeah,
Dutch Brothers.
Dutch Brothers. Come on, you can't just leave like that.
Right,
I
and
know
we're
you want to.
I don't know who's
We got to give a shout out to Sage here.
Miss Sage, aka Vinyl Sweets. I am the assistant program director at the Slide here.
Yeah, you are.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miss
You are very
Sage.
sweet.
so much.
You're
You
welcome.
are awesome.
So many.
No straw for you.
But since
So mid coffee break.
Yes.
Aside from that,
I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. I love this because I was getting parched.
Same.
What I guess what I'm trying to say is that there are so many people who are not able to process that way, who process in very unhealthy ways. And I only say that because I was that person.
Same.
Yes.
I was.
Your music,
I was-
I had no idea how to
I had
do
a lot of
anything.
coping mechanisms, and I'm not sure the subjects that we can talk about, but some of them were a reliance on certain substances.
Absolutely.
Some of them were a reliance or a codependency on people.
Absolutely.
And I think when now I have my own apartment and I'm living by myself in my own space, and I found this self of my, this peace, this quietness that allows me to just be. And that process of being able to heal and then being able to express.
Absolutely.
Wow, right? That just to be able
I never
to say,
thought I had it in me.
this is where I'm at.
Yeah.
To answer your question, you're allowed. You can talk about whatever you want to, as long as there's no confessions to any crimes within the statute of limitations.
There you
Now,
go.
other than that,
Bet.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
start from the lawyer.
exactly.
Oh.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
But since we're in thank yous, I didn't foresee how we were
Yes,
going to do the
please
show
thank me,
here,
Mike.
but I want to thank both
Oh,
of
my
you.
goodness.
I do want to thank both of you, all of you, all of you, because what we're talking about, there's other people going through these things.
Oh,
Both
100.
the hard parts and then the get better parts. And someone will listen to this who is going through
It's
these
important
things.
to be talked about. If we don't talk about it, then they don't know that it's happening, and then they sit there and they're alone. So I felt a lot better just because I related with you guys on so many different levels. I see Noah like tweaking out because you are like, our lives are the same.
No, I
It's
know. It
just
was
that
crazy,
feeling.
like, especially the religious aspect of it, like, how we grew up, like, playing on, like, the worship team at church and, like, being kicked out because we weren't, like, what they wanted us
enough.
to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, and that's my 6th chapter, right? Or my 13th chapter, or my 19th chapter. I think, to think of it in that way, like, this is a part of my book.
Absolutely.
It's a part of my story, and it's a part of who I am.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's so important to be able to discuss that with people. And, honestly, I truly mean this wholeheartedly. I'm a huge podcast fanatic. I love them. I love the idea of them.
Okay.
Glennon Doyle, if you ever hear this, shout out to you because you are a queen. But I got into them in 2020 when a friend of mine who I was dating at the time showed them to me, and of course it was during the pandemic, so it's
You're
like a
in
really
your
good way of
house.
connecting, and to just be able to be here, Mike, to just be able to have a voice and practice that ability to be vulnerable. I've gotten close to Noah over the past few months, and I've certainly gotten close to Sarah, so being able to have that opportunity to truly sit here and get to know each other. So
versus just like the artificial,
right?
What
Hello,
everybody sees. How are you doing? And you're like, I'm suffocating inside, but I'm great.
Absolutely. That's what I say all the time when I go to Drives North, is always like, no matter what they're going through, no matter like how hard it gets, because they be going through some stuff. I'm like, just get on with it.
Because
Like,
I'm going through it. I know.
I be going through it, but you never see that, and I want people to know that, like you said, I want, like, people might hear this that are going through the same thing, and like people will see me in my real life, and this is how I am. I'm not a faker. I don't put on a mask, but I do like to bring my best foot forward when I'm in front of people.
Okay.
And so,
Sorry. So sorry. I'm
you're
sorry.
fine. What were you saying?
I like to overlap sometimes. I'm sorry. You put a thought in my brain, and it's
Yeah.
the same thing where I like to say that I have to translate. On certain days, I just really have to translate all of the darkness that goes on my head into outward positivity.
Yeah.
Because, and like Jasper was saying earlier too, was that a lot of people, and I'm not judging the people who don't have good coping mechanisms, I just necessarily can't put myself around them because they're actively hurting other people. And that is something that I try my absolute hardest not to do. Is sometimes I may say things in the wrong way, and I don't say it the way that I necessarily want to say it, but that's the best of intentions, is that you have to be a good person and outwardly project good things.
Yeah.
Right.
In order to, because I mean, there's so much shit in this world. There's so much bad things, and
Absolutely.
I wouldn't have friends like you. I wouldn't know people like you. I wouldn't know about your lives or care about your lives if I was so stuck in my own shell
Yeah.
that the first time I met you, I made you feel bad
Right.
because you wouldn't feel comfortable around me.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's beautiful about the way that we network and the way that we have networked and met each other, right? We met each other in those spaces of being able to be ourselves.
Yeah.
And having grown up in a space where I can,
Mm-hmm.
Mommy Te
I mean,
Amo,
so spaces-
my mother, I love you so much if you listen to this, but, she didn't create, no, let me rephrase that. Perdón, Mommy. She created the environment that she thought was best for me, which was that Christian environment.
Yes.
And that's the best way that I can see it and look at it. And she thought that it would be best for me to not be gay.
Yeah.
You know, and having grown up in that kind of environment where we can't be ourselves.
Let's be clear. I feel like life for me would be easier if I weren't gay, for
100%.
sure. And so they're not really wrong.
No,
it's just
yeah.
like,
and then we're brown.
I know.
So we're
I'm
brown
I'm
and
the bottom.
non-binary.
I'm non-binary. I'm black, and
Yeah.
what else? What is it? And I'm queer.
Yeah.
I just call myself queer because I am non-binary and I am also pansexual. Sorry, that leap.
Hello.
But hi.
Well,
that-
thank you for
But
sharing.
that
Absolutely.
marginalization,
Yeah.
that marginalization is truly the fuel for what we do.
Yeah.
You know, and if I may segue into a poem that I wrote,
Perfect time.
according to that marginalization, recently, and for those of you hearing and listening, a very tragic event happened within our community, within our queer community, and we lost some good people, and it's very sad. And I wrote a poem about this event, and I want to share it. For those of you who are listening and who have gone to Club Q in Colorado Springs and you feel like you're lonely and you don't have that community anymore, hear me out. You aren't alone. You have people in your life. You have those people who are willing to be there for you and around you. It was such a safe space, and it still is. That hatred did not win. So I'm going to share this poem. It's
And it strengthens the bonds within our community.
It does.
Versus trying to break it.
Right. Exactly. And that's the thing about the person who created this who did this action. They thought they would separate us, and in fact, they just made us strong.
Oh, absolutely.
So I don't have a title for this, but here we go. Domestic terrorism doesn't knock. It kicks down the door, reeking of arrogance and privilege. There are no boundaries and there was no invitation. It has attempted to make its roots in our home and corrupt our love, but our love cannot be corrupted. Like a cliff near the ocean or a tree in the forest, we are planted firmly, carrying each other. Our language is love. As we live in a world that demands us to change, our rebuttal will be hatred is hollow, and if we're loud enough, its echoes will be so loud that its walls will begin to crumble. There is strength in our unity and in our love.
Wow.
So,
Very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. For those of you who feel alone, reach out, and definitely be self-advocate in those moments of feeling like it's too heavy, and really just
Because people do care.
they
No matter
do.
how many times,
Yeah.
like I remember when I was young, I would just be like, nobody cares about me. Like if I send this text message, it's not gonna matter. It doesn't matter. But there are people like yourself who genuinely care, who genuinely want to talk with you about
Yeah.
it.
How many people out there, grew up not feeling safe, and then that was their spot of being safe.
Absolutely.
100%. So.
And those safe spaces are very rare, and that's why I feel like when I find one of those, I just so
100%, which is why I love jives.
Yes,
Mhm.
which is why
Yeah.
I honed in on jives as well. That's why I really like the Ultra Flat Black Gallery too.
Ultra
I
Flat
love
Black
Ultra
is so
Flat.
Oh yes,
good.
we have to go
Yeah.
No, dude,
Yeah.
seriously,
Ultra
it's not
Flat's
even
the
like
shit.
a shout out. It's just the fact that they cultivate such a great space.
My
and
man
it's
Don.
always comfortable.
My man Don. No, really.
Yeah.
I mean, they're always offering so many. I mean, first of all, they're
supporting local artists every
yeah,
single day.
and they're
without
ethnic
me.
led.
Yep.
Yes.
Shout out to all the
Black-owned
brown
business.
people,
Yes.
Shout out to those people who have been minorities for
And
so
making
long.
shit
And
happen.
it's also the people who own this company that are hosting this podcast.
Yes.
The people like that are giving us, me and
A
you, my
platform,
homie,
yup.
me and you, an opportunity to speak.
Let's go.
Words are magic, yo. Words are magic.
And we create them.
And if I can just jump back with something I wanted to say, because
Of course,
Yeah,
this is
I
our-
wanted-
your podcast.
I have
podcast,
noticed.
Mike.
I guess I could talk a little bit of my
You tell
podcast.
me.
I
Well,
guess we'll have a little
I
bit of
think
space.
we're gonna make it the people's podcast.
But
But even though
says the lawyer.
I don't
That's
know.
awesome.
People-
That's
Well,
awesome.
even though obviously we have some different backgrounds and different causes and
Absolutely.
effects, so much of what I have heard talking to you guys both before today and a little bit more during this podcast.
Yeah.
So much of that I relate to in different ways.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have the same religious kind of thing, but I came from the same abusive.
Lucky.
You can
No,
understand.
sorry, never mind.
Oops.
So I went lucky.
No, I know
with
you were
religion.
you were
It's
jumping
just
back.
different aspects.
Well,
of
the
it.
religion was different. It was religion, but it was different,
Mm.
and it was discouraging art.
Ooh.
Art was a bad thing. It was
You're never gonna make something of yourself. Like,
exactly.
Which is very prevalent in most religions, I would say. Like my parents
what's your
are
real job?
Yeah,
Yeah.
my parents are actually really rare in the fact that they let me listen to, like, as the church would say, secular music. That's the only reason that I have a love for music is because my dad and I bonded over, like, 60s and 70s music. That's why I wanted to be a musician. That's where my inspiration comes from. But yeah.
But I say I didn't start writing anything down. I wrote my first poem when I was 46 years old.
Imagine what the system has done to people and how it has stunted their creativity, because there are people out there that are saying you cannot be this way.
Yes.
You are a lawyer.
Mhm.
And the fact that you're a lawyer and you discovered yourself as a poet
46.
years later
Right.
is baffling to me.
And I was 47 before I did my first open mic.
Yeah.
Or ever got up and spoke it with anyone. So
Yeah.
you guys are a little bit ahead of me, I'll say.
Well, that's the thing. It's hard when you're raised in a stunted environment. Like for me, I had to basically break myself down in order to build myself back up in just the
Absolutely.
daily way that I live my life. And I'm sure that you guys have all been through some form of that in yourself as well through the abuse that you've endured, withstood. I don't know what I'm trying to say. That's called dyslexia.
No, I love
where it,
that.
like, switches.
Word combination.
Wait,
Yes.
dyslexia can happen in your speech too?
Well, basically, so sometimes I take two words and I put the
Same.
first one and the end of the other one and I mix them together.
Oh, I do that
Anyway,
sometimes.
We've all withstood so much trauma within our lives. And so, to me, I used to beat myself up where I was like, I missed all of these opportunities back then because I was just depressed.
Absolutely.
And I'm starting so late.
That's
And
how
I
I
have
feel.
this friend, his name is Greg Dries. He
Oh.
is an amazing, genuinely, just
The most sweetest man you will
Mhm.
ever meet.
Shout
in
out
your
to
life.
Greg.
like one of the most amazing people I've ever met in my entire life.
My man,
And-
Hobo Greg.
He
Mhm.
is just outward love. And he told me that there was a point in his life where he had to have that big change. And he finally started living the way that he wanted to live in certain aspects. I don't know how much he
he's
wants
also
to
a
share.
poet.
But yeah, he's a
Wonderful
very
poet.
open person, so I'm sure I could tell this whole story in explicit detail. But basically, I just meant like all the details. No, I didn't have to jump
Sorry,
there.
sorry.
I did emphasize it. I'm sorry. This story took
All the
10 minutes to know.
dirty details
of Greg's life. No. So essentially he had broken through as well. And at that point he was about your age, about 40 years old. And that's what made me realize that it is never too late.
Mhm.
And the longer that you continue to hold it against yourself for how late you started the game is the longer that you're waiting to start the game.
Yes.
You just
Ooh.
Yeah.
That is
Okay.
you are still holding the torch.
Yeah.
You are still
Yeah.
holding the torch. The minute
I
when
never
you
thought about
continue
that, yo.
when you continue to be so mean to yourself for
Ooh.
not using that match, eventually the match will go out.
Mhm.
And then it
at
will
that
burn
point,
your
it
hand.
will be too late.
Yes, exactly. I think this is
Wow.
something that I really learned. And as opposed to many people, I'm actually quite grateful for being raised in a very religious home. My mother's faith is certainly something that gave her the strength to raise us as a single mom for a little bit.
Mm.
And
How many children, if I may ask?
my mom, I have two sisters who
Wow.
lived with me.
That's 3
Yeah,
kids.
3 kids.
Wow.
Yes. And she did it on her own. I mean, aside from my grandpa's help.
Sure.
But something that she really, really instilled in me is the power of the presence. Being able to just be present. You know, there's so
Oh,
much
yes.
that I could beat myself up about. Honestly, I went to college as soon as I got out of high school, and I screwed up and I lost my opportunity, and I dropped out. And then I went back and I got my my associates, which I'm super proud of. But
Did it?
thank you, first generation.
Oh,
But
yes.
yeah,
I feel that I was
yeah.
the first.
But it took a lot of work, and I really beat myself up for a minute there because Adams State is a really good university, and I had it good, living with my mom. I didn't have to pay bills yet or rent, and now I'm thinking to myself like, dang, I could be there. But the thing is that I am there.
Mm-hmm.
And when you are able to have that
Okay.
that experience of, wow, I am doing it. It's not that I'm trying, it's that I'm doing. You know, when you're able to just finally look in the mirror and say, I'm at where I need to be because that's where I'm at.
And all the hard work you had to do makes you appreciate it so much more
Right.
than if you had just gotten it when you took it for granted.
Right.
Speaking of doing, I'm trying to make this an awkward segue because I think Noah should do another artistic.
Haha, speaking of
Okay,
doing,
so
Because
is
we had a
this
So maybe I'm trying to do
is
an
this a
awkward
Mike Harris v.
segue.
Noah Hale? No Hale.
I'm trying.
Wait.
Sarah
Okay.
Garlick is no longer the co-host.
No.
Did anyone else realize though that
I need
Noah Vale is close to the word no avail?
Yeah,
Wait.
that is literally
Is that
our purpose.
really?
Yes,
Okay.
thank
That's-
you.
I
my
told you
bad.
why.
Yes,
I
for
think
real.
someone
I didn't know
Literally
that.
give it here.
Bro, I love
No
etymology,
avail.
man.
Thank you.
Words are just so great.
They are one of the few people, which is of three. You're the third person to ever point that out. No one's ever really gotten it. No avail. Yeah.
No,
That's
no
Am
avail.
I expected to sing? What's going on?
Well,
Yeah.
Well,
Mike-
that's what I was
whatever-
saying.
Mike Harris.
Whatever
That's
you
what I
would
was
like
trying
to
to
do.
say was Mike
But-
Harris
If you,
X Noah Vale, like together, like you were talking about earlier. Maybe that would be the time for this.
Oh, maybe. Whatever. What do you want, Mike? Do you want me to
I
sing
want
it?
you to sing one of your songs and show something off.
Shows.
You have so many amazing songs that people have not heard yet. We need
That's a really good one.
to get.
505.
Yeah, 505.
You want me to do 505?
Absolutely. I love the way you do that song.
Nothing happened, Jasper.
It's okay. Mississippi knows how to take a beating.
Mississippi.
Mhm.
Oh, I love the name for your guitar.
She's a
I
beauty.
love the instant accent.
Well, that is her name. Mississippi.
Okay, this is not an original song, but Sarah Garlick likes the song that
I
I do.
requested it.
This is a Sarah Garlick requested song. Hold on, sip of coffee.
Sip and sip. Sippity sip sip. Sippity sip sip the coffee.
Anyways, we're not gonna do any more of that. This is 505 by the wonderful Beatles. I'm just kidding, Arctic Monkeys. I'm going back to 505. If it's a 7-hour flight or a 45-minute drive. In my imagination, you're waiting, lying on your side, with your hands between your thighs. Not shy of a spark. The knife twists at the fold that I should fall short of the mark. Frightened by the bite, no, it's no harsher than the bark. The middle of adventure, such a perfect place to start. I'm going back to 505. If it's a 7-hour flight or a 45-minute drive. In my imagination, you're waiting, lying on your side, with your hands between your thighs. But I crumble completely when she cries. It seems like once again you're about to greet me with goodbye. I'm always just about to go and spoil the surprise. Take my hands off of your eyes too soon. I'm going back to 505. If it's a 7-hour flight or a 45-minute drive. In my imagination, you're waiting, lying on your side, with your hands between your thighs, and it's fine.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I tried my bestest.
Oh my gosh.
Your turn for a song?
Does anyone actually know what 505 is? Going back to 505.
As that's like an area code, right?
Yeah. What is it?
New Mexico, right?
New Mexico.
Yo, let's go. That was a total
Shout
guess.
out to
Everyone
New
thought it was a
Mexico,
guess.
yo.
was
Born
a
and
guess.
raised.
That's
Tommy,
what it
born
is.
and raised
That's
in New
cool.
Mexico.
Hell yeah, my man.
Born in Española for sure.
Huh.
Raised in
Okay,
Milwaukee.
I
That's
see you. I see
Going
you.
back to the 505.
I
hombre.
know. That was a guess. I'm a god.
King.
Okay.
No, that's awesome. I think that's wonderful that you can immerse yourself in
The covers.
Yeah, I know. I love that so
There's
much.
so much emotion.
There's so much fun to do
the
with covers.
cover.
Yeah.
I think
Before you start, I was gonna say.
sure. Yeah.
And
do
the
your
best
thing.
covers, I'm sorry, really quick,
As
the
you-
best covers
Oh.
are the ones that you don't know are covers because they sing them so well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.